I'd much rather do something well once and get paid over and over and over again for doing that well once. And that is content, and content's king. And the more content you create, the more leads you're going to get and the more deals you're going to do. But it's not something that happens overnight. And I talk about that in the book. And, as a result of being on quite a few podcasts, I get people always reaching out to me on Facebook, or, I've got my retail side of real estate. So I've got a number there and people find me. And it's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. But, people ask me all the time. And, and that's why I came up with my 261 formula, because I couldn't articulate, what is it I do? I kept asking myself that question because I couldn't tell people. And so I came up with exactly what it is that I do, but it's a longer term play that takes some time. And if you're willing to put in the work, it'll happen.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Carrot Cast. I've got on with me an amazing guest, and actually this is a return guest. Many of you guys and gals already know who Tyler is. Many of you guys and gals have had a chance to check out one of the previous episodes of the Carrot Cast or the Market Leader Summit with Tyler. And I wanted to bring Mr. Tyler Ford back on the Carrot Cast today for several reasons. I mean, one of the big ones is he wrote a book right here called How to Buy 1 to 3 Properties a Month without spending a dime on direct mail, putting up bandit signs, or chasing deals on the MLS. So we're going to go through the concepts in this book. But the second thing is, y'all, Tyler has really executed Carrot insanely well. And we'll be able to go through and look at kind of what is he doing in his market that's really helping him stand out with all these market shifts that are going on and doing all kinds of cool stuff. So welcome back onto the Carrot Cast, Tyler. Good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me. I always love coming back and love not only being on your podcast, but listening to them and get a ton of value. And it's my favorite podcast, and it's on my favorites, and always plugged into what you're doing. So I appreciate it.
Let's dive into the book, because I think that's a great segue too, where guys and gals, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be straightforward with y'all here. Okay. There is a book. You guys can go buy it. You guys can go to his website and buy it, or Amazon. It's cheaper on his site. But I'm going to tell you it right now, because this book is what we're going to be talking about. Oh, there's a picture of me. Picture Tyler. But realestatepumpkin.com is where you guys can grab Tyler's book. If you guys are just listening to the audio version of this and you're not watching to the video version, I just showed the book there. Go to YouTube, go subscribe to the Carrot channel on YouTube, and check this episode out on carrotcast.com with Tyler. And so, Tyler, I kind of want to start with this, where a lot of people know your story. They've heard you on the Carrot Cast before. We're going to link up the other episodes with you in the show notes, so people can go to the other 2 episodes of the Carrot Cast with you, because we're not going to dive in a ton to your backstory. We're not going to dive into all the detail that we do over there. They can go over there to check out all that backstory. But before we dive into the book and the concepts on here, why don't you kind of in a Cliff Notes version, let people know who you are, and then we'll dive into how people can get similar results that you've got with Carrot, where it's your full-time lead stream right now is through Carrot. You're buying multiple properties a month, multiple 6-figure a year net profit, way easier business than it ever was before, and you're enjoying it more. But who are you for those who don't know you?
I love real estate. I've been at it since college. I got my real estate license one summer when I was interning at a commercial real estate company, Grubb & Ellis, and bought my first foreclosure right out of college. And at the same time, got my license. I've been licensed for going on 30 years here. Yep. And I just love real estate. I've been buying and selling. We've got rental properties, and I love the deals. So it's been, it's changed over the years. It's gotten a lot more competitive, and that's what led me to Carrot, because we were struggling a couple years ago. It's one of the reasons why, in my book, How to Compete with the Big Boys. And I was struggling because the big boys were coming into our market. They had huge advertising budgets, and I just couldn't compete. And it was breaking the bank, and our average cost per deal was going through the roof. And as a result, I stumbled upon Carrot, did the road trip, knocked on Trevor's door, and the gang at Carrot, they opened the door with welcome arms, and gave me the tour, and I haven't looked back since. So, but again, I was on the verge of contemplating doing some other things and just maybe focusing more on the rental portfolio side and the retail side of real estate. But we were doing quite a few deals, and then all of a sudden, just a ton of people flooded our market, and I just didn't want to spend the money and compete with them in terms of dollars.
Yep. And do that. That's really common right now too, where I think a lot of real estate investors, especially, and agents as well, but a lot of real estate investors, especially, they're taught the outbound marketing methods, which, direct mail, cold calling, RVMs, text, those things all work. Like, I never say they don't work. I always say they do work. It's just a fundamentally different way of marketing, and those leads are predisposed to have a different approach with you than inbound leads like you attract. And also, like you said, when big competition comes in, you got to then expand your budget with your marketing to try to compete against the mind share that those the big boys and gals are buying in that market. And so you're down there in Tucson, and the Phoenix market's crazy. Of course, we have a bunch of customers in Phoenix doing really well. But that's one thing that I want you guys and gals listening to this to think about right now. Are you guys in a market that is competitive? Are you guys in a market where it's forcing you to look at all the other outbound marketing methods you're doing and say, man, this is getting really expensive. It's harder to cut through that clutter. I'm having to send out way more direct mail now and get the same response rate. I'm having to do way more cold calls, and we're churning through just the hamster wheel marketing of cold calling. We're churning through the hamster wheel marketing of direct mail and RVMs and text message marketing. They all work, once again, guys and gals. But going back to what Tyler had talked about, and that's what he talks about in one of the first chapters of the book, is he talks about how he needed to make a shift. And he had a website already with Carrot, or not with Carrot, with it was a custom WordPress site. It was even already ranked #1 in Google for one of the key phrases he was going after. But then he made the switch to Carrot to go, hey, I'm going to go all in with this. No longer was it dabbling. And so when you talked a little bit ago, Tyler, about you working out and that being a big part of what you do, you show us some pictures in here of that trip where you made it up to Oregon. Right there. There's your Subaru Outback camping up here, just not too far from Carrot headquarters. There's us the first time we had a chance to meet in the office. Since then, you've been back, of course, for Carrot Camp and things like that. But Tyler, what would you tell someone who is in a market where it's getting competitive, similar to how you were, and they're kind of weighing those options? Okay, do I go over here and try to compete with all this outbound marketing, or do I find another way? What would you tell them, and why did you make the choice to go all in on the online inbound side?
Well, I would tell them if they've got the budget, great. But if they're willing to take a step back, and again, it's something that I talk about in my 261 success formula, is that they've got to be willing to take a step back. And that's what I did. I literally took a step back for about 6 months and developed our website, focused on content, knew that it would take some time. So what would I tell them? I would tell them if they've got the budget, continue to do what they're doing, but simultaneously build the organic SEO, the evergreen marketing, in conjunction with their budget. And then eventually they can pull back on that budget, because they're going to be getting a lot more leads coming in on the organic side. And our cost per deal is less than $300.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy. And people don't believe me, but I made a commitment that I was going to exchange, that I'd much rather do something well once and get paid over and over and over again for doing that well once. And that is content, and content's king. And the more content you create, the more leads you're going to get and the more deals you're going to do. But it's not something that happens overnight. And I talk about that in the book. And, as a result of being on quite a few podcasts, I get people always reaching out to me on Facebook, or, I've got my retail side of real estate, so I've got a number there, and people find me. And it's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. But, people ask me all the time. And, and that's why I came up with my 261 formula, because I couldn't articulate, what is it I do? I kept asking myself that question because I couldn't tell people. And so I came up with exactly what it is that I do, but it's a longer term play that takes some time. And if you're willing to put in the work, it'll happen.
Well, dude, let's dive into the 261 formula now. So what I didn't tell you guys before this, really quick, is I'm going to be giving away 10 copies of this book on this podcast. And all you guys have to do is this. Number one, subscribe to the Carrot Cast on Apple iTunes, on Apple Podcasts, whatever the heck it's called now. Subscribe on Spotify, wherever the heck you listen to podcasts. Subscribe there first. Number two, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Okay, and the first 10 after the time that this episode is going to be aired. So that's one of the reasons you guys need to subscribe, is because we give away things like this sometimes, and those people that subscribe are the first ones to listen to the episodes, and then you guys get the prizes first. But the first 10 to give a rating and review of the podcast, just tell us your honest opinion. Don't just say, hey, episode was awesome. I'm talking like, tell me what you get out of the podcast, why you like it, what other people would too. The first 10 after this episode launches live are going to get this book here mailed to you. Make sure that when you leave that rating and review, then you email me, Trevor@Carrot, just Trevor@Carrot. Let me know that you did it. Take a screenshot of your review, attach it to that email, and let us know your address, and we'll get it mailed out to you guys. The first 10 only. Right, guys? So let's toss back over to you, Tyler. So in the book, you talk about the 261 formula. It's chapter 1. It's right there at the start. What is it, and how can people learn from that?
Well, the biggest thing is just realistic expectations. I see so many people that, reach out to me. They have unrealistic expectations in terms of what they think they're going to get as a result of having a website. Mm-hmm. And so the first thing that people need to understand, it's a long-term play. I mean, you've got to be committed for the long term.
Yep.
And so the 261 is just getting people in the right place in terms of their mindset. That it's the 261 stands for the first 2 months, just putting in a massive amount of effort. Mm. And then it's going to take from one to 2 months, putting in the work, putting in the effort, from 1 to 6 months, still doing that, but not as much. And then from the 2 is the first 2 months, the 1 to 6 is continuing to do more. And then the 12 is a year. I mean, to really get this thing working and to get the kind of leads that can make a difference, in my opinion, it's going to take a solid year of creating a foundation.
Yep.
And I mean, you couldn't build a house, you couldn't build anything without the foundation. So a lot of people try to skip and they get impatient and then they quit. So the 261 is just setting people up for success in terms of creating that foundation to set people up for success for the long haul, but you've got to be committed, and you can't give it, 30 days of effort and stop. I mean, I still to this day am doing exactly what I teach in my book.
Yep.
And the time is a lot less, but I'm still doing it. And that's the key.
And so people have context, Tyler, because they might be going, well, cool. So all that work that you're doing, what is it yielding you? So for you and your business, what does your business look like right now?
Well, one thing I want to say right now with COVID, just before I forget, right now is the perfect time. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. Like right when everybody was like, we were, put in jail and we had to stay home. I'm like, what am I going to do? I want to be productive. And I always had the book I had all the concepts in my head, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to get this done. And so literally from 0 to 45 days, got the book done. But my point is right now with everything going on, it is the perfect time to implement the 261 formula and to create that foundation to set yourself up for success. But our business right now, again, I don't want to be the biggest guy in town. It's not my goal. My goal is to have life, freedom, and flexibility, and generate enough organic leads that I can consistently do 1 to 3 deals a month with a net profit of anywhere from $12,000 to $50,000 per deal.
Yep. That's
what we've been consistently been able to do over the last 2 years. And as a result, we now have, I think, going on 9 doors free and clear. And so we've got a monthly, residual with or without that, pays for our freedom number and more.
Yep.
And so that was really our goal, that if we were to, take off for a summer, we would have the income through our rental portfolio that we've done very conservatively. So, I mean, our goal is to buy 1 to 3 properties a month, take that money, reinvest it back into an income producing activity and do it the least expensive way in terms of our cost per lead, or our cost per lead and our cost per deal. And right now if we do one deal a month, our cost per deal, and again, people probably not going to believe this, is $300.
Yep.
So we've got Carrot, I've got Podio, Globiemail, and Ring Central. That's it. I mean, literally that's our fixed costs.
Dude, I want to do some math really quick for people, because one thing that you had mentioned earlier there, Tyler, is you said, my goal isn't to be the largest in the market. And it's really easy when people are on Facebook or they're in a mastermind or whatever, they see the people saying, I do 5 deals a month, I do 10 a month. You know, we had Pace Morby, one of our clients, on here the other day, who does sometimes upwards of 20 to 30 deals every single month in the Phoenix market. And you look at that and go, well, that's a lot of deals. It seems like 30 is better than one, right? Or 10 is better than one. What's the profit you're looking to get? How much time are you looking to have to be flexible in your life? How much freedom are you looking to get? Okay. And dude, I know a lot of people who do 10 deals a month, so 100 plus deals a year, but they're doing a bunch of outbound marketing. So it costs them $3,000 to $4,000 to get that same deal. So their profit margins are way lower. When you do a bunch of outbound marketing, and you have a ton of leads coming in, what happens? Well, you have to have people that service those leads. So you've got to get the employees, the acquisition managers. You've got to get the people that do all these other things, because you have a volume of leads coming in that are lower quality leads. You've got to sift your way through them. And so on average, on average, radio and TV advertising, between 40 and 50, between 40 and 60 leads turn into a deal. On average, direct mail, it's between 20 and 40 leads turn into a deal. Cold calling, it's same thing, around 20 to 40, 20 to 60, depending on the quality of your list, leads into a deal. Every single one of those leads, y'all, has to be handled by somebody. Okay. But with inbound, and I don't know your numbers specifically now, Tyler, but I know some others with inbound, sometimes it's 1 in 5, sometimes it's 1 in 8, sometimes it's 1 in 10, 1 in 15.
Yeah, ours is about 1 in 7. For every 17 leads we get, it's a deal.
Yep. Which is perfect. Which is perfect, right? Because would you guys rather have to handle 17 leads or 60 leads to try to get that same deal at a way higher margin? Okay, so the reason I'm bringing this up, y'all, is Tyler said, I want my business to achieve this outcome. Give me this flexibility. Give me this time that I can spend doing things I want to do. Give me this profit, so then we can put it into buying these properties. That's like a real business plan. But a lot of wholesalers or flippers go in without that real business plan, and they just look at volume and they end up driving themselves into the ground.
And they're also leveraged, and something like COVID hits and the market slows down, and now they're in big trouble. I learned that lesson in 2008 and said I wouldn't do that again. So for me, what glitters isn't always gold, and nothing against that model. And I have quite a few friends in town that have that model, but I know what it looks like on the back end. Yep. And I just, I don't want that. Exactly. To be honest, I just don't want it.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I thought it was really important we focus on that a little bit, because there are going to be people who go, oh, well, he's doing 1 to 3 a month or 1 to 5 a month. I want to look at the guy who's doing 10. The guy who's doing 10 might not be making as much money as Tyler, who's doing 1 to 3. Okay. At the end of the day, between employee expenses, between all that, and Tyler has a lot more flexibility. All right, guys. So in kind of the last thing that I want to do to hammer that point home, and this is something that's going into the book that I'm writing right now, is people aren't, your marketing isn't apples to apples. And here's what I mean when I say that, is like, so when you do the outbound marketing methods, they all work. There's a cost that comes with that, because they're lower quality, higher volume means you have to build a team or have people to plug into those, or it means you have to do a lot of that, all that work, and just takes all of your time away. And so the marketing that you do when you do inbound, the way that we teach it, and the way that Tyler is executed it and teaches it in his book, it's higher quality leads. They close quicker. Oftentimes they're higher margin. Oftentimes they're easier to work with. You don't get hate mail. You don't get people yelling at you saying, how'd you get my phone number? It's a more enjoyable business model all around, guys. So that's one of the reasons we focus on it.
They're typically sold on you before they even get to you, before you even call them, because they've read your about page. And I go through this in my book, but a lot of times they're not talking to as many people, maybe 1 to maybe 2 others at most. But if you're quick to jump on the phone, go look them in the eye and do what you need to do, competition wise, it's a whole lot less than direct mail or ringless voice or any of the other bandit signs, anything like that, or even chasing deals in the MLS. It's just, I mean, that's a time consuming process in itself.
Oh, dude, I want to share my screen really quick. Because one thing you just said, Tyler, and this is in the book as well, is you said, oftentimes they're not talking with a bunch of other people. And here's one really cool thing about it. So in the book, you have a chapter that talks about leveraging multiple carrot sites. And so that one it's towards the back half of the book, somewhere in here. It's in here. Can't remember which chapter it is specifically. But essentially, guys and gals, I'm sharing my screen right now.
It's chapter 7.
Chapter 7. Perfect. So I'm sharing my screen right now. If you're listening to the audio version of this, I'll explain it as good as I can, but head over to the YouTube version, go to carrotcast.com and grab this episode with Tyler and subscribe to us on YouTube. But this is one cool thing that Tyler does talk about in there is the merits of, as you start to perfect the system, use his 261 formula and implement the things he has in these chapters along with our training. As you go and you start to get one of your sites ranked really high, what Tyler has done then is he went, cool, let me just launch another carrot site and implement the same thing and see if I can get multiple carrot sites up there. And right now I'm seeing the top 3 results for like Sell My House Fast Tucson are all you. 3 separate sites, all you. Let's kind of walk through that a little bit, Tyler, because that is a more advanced strategy, right? Because you're essentially saying, do this 3 times. Like, do this 3 times, but then continue that work as you go. What would you suggest to people that once they got their first site up there ranking well and it's producing for them, when should someone possibly look at launching a second carrot site to try to grab more rankings there so your leads are talking to you on all 3 of the sites?
Well, this is something that I emphasize in my book. I think people make the mistake of launching a second site too soon, where their first site hasn't gotten the traction or you haven't put in the work. So in the book, I talk about not doing that until after your first year. And I didn't do that until after my first year.
Yep.
So I spent a solid year on one site. And once it was solid, we were ranked across the board for multiple keywords. Then at that point, I launched this site right here. So my recommendation is I think it's detrimental to actually do it too soon. You might want to get the URL and just get it out there because that has some SEO juice in terms of the URL and how long you've owned it. So I'm not saying don't put it in place. You can have it there, but really don't start working on it, in my opinion, until a year into your primary site to where you've got it really cranking. Otherwise, it goes back to the pumpkin plan. You're just, that's a great book to read, and thanks to Trevor, he turned me on to that. But I wouldn't lose focus on the main site until it's really going before they start working other sites.
Dude, and you're spot on there, guys. And here's a couple things to back that up. The first one is, like Tyler said, by that year period, if you're executing this well, unless you're in a small market, right? Like if you're in a pretty darn small market, y'all, you can definitely get those results quicker. Okay, I'm here in Roseburg, and we were able to launch some things that got really good rankings within 3 to 4 months. But we're a town of 30,000 people. There's not a lot of competition here. And so when you're in a bigger town like a Tucson, or anything that's over 500,000 in population, you should definitely be ready for that 6 to 12 month journey, like Tyler said, to get the real momentum with your carrot site. And then once that momentum is there, it's easier on the maintenance side. So Tyler,
well, and the other, just real quick, so the other benefit of multiple sites, and I talk about this in my book, is also backlinks. You can, there's also benefits to having multiple sites, and quality backlinks are hard to get. And by having multiple sites, you can get really good backlinks by utilizing your other sites to backlink to each other.
That's perfect. And the cool thing is, same thing, guys. Tyler talks about it in the book. So go grab, I
think that's chapter 6.
Backlinks is page 59, whatever chapter it is. Backlinks, the secret ingredients, or the secret sauce ingredient.
Chapter 8.
Yep. So guys, it's in there as well. So go to realestatepumpkin.com or grab it on Amazon. Or once again, I'm going to be giving 10 copies of these away. I've got a whole stack of them right here. I'm going to be giving 10 copies of these away to the first 10 people after the time that this episode is published, who leave a rating and review over on Apple Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, talking about what you're getting away from the Carrot Camp and how you enjoy it, or Carrot Cast and how you're enjoying it. And so with this too, some people might be saying, how does what Tyler's teaching differ from what Carrot teaches, right? In the 3 lead per day, or in my podcast, or in the videos. I had a chance to go through all this, and Tyler and I have talked a lot. There's nothing that I know of that conflicts. There's things that Tyler has built upon, though, for sure.
And everything in the book is what you taught me.
Yeah, but
so, literally,
and then you built upon and made some of them better. Like right. Some of the things that you and I had talked about in one of the previous episodes of the Carrot Cast was how you use the tagging, how you go in and really modify the automated articles and the Content Pro and Advanced Marketer Plan. And you talk about how to do those in this book. Tyler talks about how to use our automated articles, how to tweak them and get them to rank well. All that's talked about in here, guys. So if people ask that question, it doesn't conflict at all. It's a very, very good companion resource. Go through this. It's going to give you a great high-level overview, and it will dive into tactics to go deploy right now. And then our 3 lead per day training and things like that are the deep, if you want to learn SEO, 3 lead per day is going to go insanely deep on it.
And that's what I started with, the 3 lead per day, and it was awesome. But yeah, the 3 lead per day is when people reach out to me, one of their biggest, and for you, I would imagine it's somewhat of an objection in terms of everybody's content is the same, and how do you compete with that?
Yep.
And so one of the things that I've done, and this is what I do, this is what takes me the most amount of time, is I go in when the content, before it comes out, I have my daily method of operation that I go through to make that content better than everybody else's, even though it's the same.
Yep.
And it's doing the little things, and it's the little things that are going to get you the results. And so a lot of people, in my opinion, get the content, they publish it, and that's it.
Yep.
And although it works and it's awesome, if they just spend a little bit of time, they're going to be miles ahead of the competition.
And what are the things, I know we briefly touched on this on the previous podcast with you, but what are those things that you might do to those automated articles that come from Carrot? If someone had 10 minutes to invest into an article, what would you tweak?
Well, and all it really takes, and I have literally my step by step, I call it my daily method of operation for Carrot content.
Yep.
And I think there's 7 steps.
He does go over these concepts in a high level, starting on page 26 in the book, where he talks about how to create that content that's going to feed you for life. And he goes through the about page, kind of what he does there, what he does with the articles from Carrot, what he does with location pages and other things as well. So really, really cool tips and things that he's got inside of here for sure.
Okay. So basically, I've got 7 things that I do, and this is kind of my checklist of the things that I do every morning when I get up. It's the first thing I do. I go in and I see what content's going to be coming out. And before it comes out, I basically, are the photos congruent? That's a big one. If you're in Colorado and there's pine trees in the mountains and I'm in the desert, your bounce rate is going to go way up, because people are going to go there and they're going to think that you're not local, and they want somebody local, so they're going to bounce. So featured image, that's really important, because if somebody goes to a blog category or a tag, if that featured image is there, they're more likely to click on it, because it's an enticement to get somebody to actually click on what it is. So categories and tags, again, I dive deep into this. So categories and tags, you want to make specific to your local market organically, rather than just generically, because it'll rank. And I get a ton of traffic by spending time with tags and categories. The nice thing about tags and categories is all you have to do is do it once, and then it's set up. But people miss this, and they just don't understand what tags and categories, but if done correctly, they're awesome. The other thing I do, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm a horrible speller, but there are grammatical errors. And if you run Grammarly behind, it's a free widget you can add on to like Chrome. It will actually go through and grammatically fix everything.
Cool.
And then hyperlink, and then the SEO at the bottom. So sometimes that's not always done correctly. That is what I do every morning.
Cool.
And I've been doing it every morning for the last 2 years.
Dude, I love it, man. Well, Tyler, dude, at the end of the day, I could talk to you forever. I so appreciate the heck out of you. You were at the last Carrot Camp, and of course we had a chance to dive in and connect there. And I'm always just grateful for the way that you are an ambassador for Carrot, the way that you just implement what we teach and go out there and see the results from it. Because we talk to a lot of people, a lot of customers, and everyone's kind of different as far as the time that they have or the dreams that they've got or how technical they are or not. And you've said it yourself, and you say it in the book. You're not a techie. You've just decided to carve out some time, learn the things, and you walked through and just made it happen. And you're patient about it. So I just appreciate you, man. And
that's the nice thing about Carrot. You don't have to be a techie. You guys are the techies. You just have to run the play. I mean, with a little bit of time, anybody can do it.
Dude, I love it. So let's wrap it with this, man. And I know you also have some training that you've had a chance to create over on realestatepumpkin.com. So that thing that you just pulled up there, guys, I don't make any money from this. The thing that Tyler pulled up, the resource, is inside of one of his training program over there. And here's the cool thing about it, because we brought Tyler on to some of these things and people have reached out to him. I remember after the first time that we had you on, he said, man, people are reaching out to me quite often. You'd hop on phones with people. But at the end of the day, guys, he's got his own business. He's got his own hobbies. He's got things that he has to do, and he can't field phone calls or emails from hundreds of people per month wanting the coaching. So that's why he's like, let me just document it in the book. Let me record what I do. Let me put it over here. He sells it for a very, very reasonable price, guys and gals. And so that way he can still serve people and not just say, no, I can't handle it because I've got my own life. But he can still serve people, make it make sense for you, make it make sense for him. And he's not spending 12 hours a week trying to help people.
And that's what I was doing it for free. I was doing Zoom calls, and it just got to the point where I hated saying that I didn't have time to help. So, and everybody that I would do Zoom calls with and kind of walk them through, I'd spend an hour with them and just walk them through everything.
Yep.
And everybody kept saying, just record it and put it here. And so anyway, long and short of it, it's not that much money, but it's basically step by step by step, the 261. There's tons of content. And I basically, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right, it's what I know, it's what I did.
Yep. And
it's everything that I did in order to get the kind of results that I get and still continue to get.
Cool.
But yeah, and it's nothing that you guys don't teach as well. I mean, it's everything that you guys teach.
Yeah.
And I learned the majority of it from you guys.
I love it. I love it. Well, guys, go to realestatepumpkin.com, grab the book, check out Tyler's training over there as well. And make sure, I'm going to give you the last call to action here, y'all. Make sure that you go to Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and review of the Carrot Cast. And the first 10 who do, and take a screenshot of that new review once this episode comes out live, email it to me at trevor@carrot.com, and in the subject line say Tyler Ford book review, so my assistant knows what to look for. Subject line, Tyler Ford book review, screenshot of the review that you just left after it comes out, and include your address. The first 10 of those we get, you'll get a book. If you email that and you weren't one of the first 10, we're sorry, we won't send you the book, but we really appreciate the review and we appreciate the support. Well, Tyler, dude, appreciate you, man. Thanks for letting us be a part of this project with you as well. And I'm always excited to continue to follow along on your journey. Thanks for coming back on.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. And you are my guru. And they'll understand that when they read the book.
That's right, dude. I appreciate it big time. Guys and gals, have an amazing rest of the week. We want to see you guys succeed. We're going to keep on bringing on amazing stories like Tyler and our other clients who are executing what we teach and shifting their mindset around their marketing. This isn't a tactic. This isn't hey, put this ad up, your business is going to change. It's a complete fundamental shift in the way that you think about your business. It's a complete fundamental shift in the way you think about your marketing and the way that you invest your time into your marketing in the short term to have it pay off for years and years and years and get off that hamster wheel, like Tyler said. realestatepumpkin.com. Give us a rating and review. We'll talk soon. Thank you, guys.
Great. Have a good day. Appreciate it. Thanks.